Oh, hell. There it is. Sorry about that, folks. My computer froze up. Got a special treat for you. I'm trying to go through as many of these as possible to post up on the internet because the legal shit, obviously, they're going to do me more harm than good. By illegally preventing me from going to court dates, they made sure that no matter what, I will never have an honest chance at a decent life. They made sure that I will always be a target. They made sure to force me to break the law in order to defend myself. I saw Robert Warnick this morning at Pump and Pantry. Now I'm going to take a pause from the recordings that I have been posting up. See, I'm real big on telling the truth. I admitted every crime I ever committed. See, unlike most Christians, I profess by mouth. I admit my sins loud and proud. And we're going to take this thing here. We are going to insert it into this computer here. I think there's a USB thing on the back of it. Fuck. There is. All right. Sorry about that, folks. Oh, fuck. Continue without scanning. Fuck it. Let's just press play. Wait, we'll open the folder to view files first. There might be more than one of them on there. There's 3 of them. Let's see, is it this one perhaps? We'll try it.
I do need to ask you a couple things, though. One, are you allowed to go into the library? You haven't been banned from being in there or anything like that?
Sorry about the volume. Obviously, that ain't it, so I'll have to go to the bottom one. Now, these all say 1/1/2020, all of them. So they're not time and date stamped. That's what happens when you remove one of them, the very top one, after setting the time and date. If you remove the top one, then it starts over at 1/1/2020. Makes it difficult to time and date stamp them. Here's the one. Oh, pretty shitty, but not dead. When I think about this town and I think to myself, how many people in this town are not cowards? Only one name comes to mind, and it's mine. Unfortunate, but you know. I don't know if I can call there's one person in town who's not a coward. Yeah, I guess. More. There should be. I was able to get a preacher to sit down with me and talk yesterday, finally. Yeah? It only took years. And he didn't even have to speak. All I needed in there was to... Witness? Yeah. Yeah. The police conduct is completely different when there's somebody else there, and I've tried to explain that. Yeah. Rod wanted to argue that. Yeah. I'm like, well, you can argue, but I don't need you to speak for me. I just need you to sit there so I can make a report about the assault. Right? Yeah. Bear witness. Let's bear witness. Yep. I also recorded it, so there's that. Yes, ma'am. And Rod recorded it as well, which is good. Yeah. Oh. I'm going to pause this for a moment. thing with Rod recording it is kind of funny because many people, their excuses for not doing nothing is situations they weren't there for. Between my word and somebody else's, I am automatically assumed to be the guilty party. Well, that's pretty screwed up. And that was the situation that I had with Rod. But I was able to convince him that, hey, I just need somebody to sit there. That's it. The police misconduct is easy to bypass. At any point through all of this, somebody could have done the right thing. Now, most of these people that I've gone to, they say, oh, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to get involved. Well, that's why you got recorded and put up on the internet, because you were involved. If you weren't involved, I wouldn't have asked you to come forward. If you weren't involved, I wouldn't have asked you to speak up. I don't have any issues posting everything from you, from our conversations on the internet. I have no issues doing that. There are lives at stake, not just mine. The price of not listening to me is at least 22 deaths. At no point in time did I need to be sent to a nuthatch. What I needed was a fucking cop to do their goddamn job. When you have a penis, they're not going to do it. Now, if you got nice clothes and you got nice standing, well then, the police might listen to you if you have a penis. If you're rich, they'll probably do exactly what you want. Slander was allowed in every single one of my court dates. My public pretenders repeatedly did not show up. No call, no show. If I do that, I get a warrant out for my fucking arrest. If they do that, it robs me of my ability to fucking feed myself. I only got one thing to say to you. Huh. It's my bar of chocolate. Give it me now. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Although I didn't get a bar of chocolate, I got a double charbroiled deluxe and 2 mean bean java monks. You're right, that night. There you go. Thank you, man. I'm gonna pretend to, but first I'm gonna go sit here in the corner, and I'm gonna go put my double charbroil there in the microwave. The double charbroils, they smell nasty. Are they good though? They are good. It's way different than McDonald's, because McDonald's smells exactly the same coming out as it does going in. Like, ugh. That is true. That is true. Yes. And their burgers are, well, I really like their burgers, but they're still gross. They've come a long way. That's right. They're smaller than they used to be, and they're not made of real meat. Yes. Well, there's also people to think that I'm a liar. I'm like, no, I'm pretty honest. Yeah. They all said that Alan at the grocery store told him I was flipping everybody off in town. I'm like, oh, not quite. I flipped off 2 people.
They probably deserve it.
They did deserve it. It's the lady from housing up there, and she's been in the paper for putting residents at risk.
Yeah?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like I'm just talking out my backside.
Right. You're not just randomly just.
Yep.
It's law.
Nope, the people that I'm flipping off are people who pissed me off, and I have good reason to be pissed. Well,
should this tactical zoom lens be made illegal? This is the first reasonably priced binocular with high-end features.
I was watching some airsoft videos while I was sitting in Pumpkin Pantry, so you'll have to sit through those a little bit before Robert Warnick becomes involved. I have spent 4 years trying to get the cops to listen to me. 4 years trying to get someone to actually listen instead of telling me what to do, what to think, and what to feel. Those of you idiots who are just now joining, who are going to suggest that I move on, I have moved repeatedly. I can't take care of myself. I have no vehicle. I have no money. The police idea of help is to try to discredit me by sending me to a fucking nuthatch. Their idea of helping me is to assault me and charge me with assault. That is their idea of help. Meanwhile, I have to be afraid to turn in my predators for fear of being assaulted or sent to a goddamn nuthatch.
Hey everybody, I'm Daniel from Space Dock. Some of you may have heard of me. If not, you can find a link in the description below to my channel where I analyze spacecraft from various works of science fiction on a weekly basis. Today I'm covering for Eckhart's Ladder, who was kind enough to cover for us a while back, and I'll be talking about the 5 deadliest Star Trek starships from the United Federation of Planets. So let's get right into it.
We're 6 minutes into an hour-long
the
video.
iconic Galaxy class. Now, I should clarify that I am measuring the 5 deadliest ships as of the latest point in the Star Trek timeline around Star Trek Nemesis, which I think places this around 5th, but I should clarify that when this ship was in its element, it was probably the most powerful.
That's Matt Bartles, former deputy. You did not. Don't sell to him. His peach fuzz is not long enough. Bartles, you should run for sheriff.
Negative, I'm done with that. Okay.
You like being a good person, huh?
I just like normal life. Thank you.
Boy, would I like that.
Have a good day. Stay warm. How are you today? Cold. Yeah.
Morning, Rick.
That's
Rick Martindale. I'm going to take the shower while the video runs.
All right. And two pyramid red box.
Those things are bad for you.
Good morning, sir.
How are you? All right.
Ship the Federation had. It's the only ship on this list that is not technically a warship because it predates the time at which the Federation started to adopt warships in response to the Borg Collective. Rather, it's an exploration cruiser that has quite a lot of weapons and later got even more when it was refitted for use in the Dominion War. The ship has 42 decks and a crew complement of 1,000. It can travel at warp 9.8, though more often cruises around warp 6, and it's armed with up to 14 phaser arrays and 2 torpedo launchers, which can be used both to fire photon torpedoes and to deploy antimatter mines. The ship is fairly well shielded, especially after its refit, but carries very little in the way of hull armor. Regardless, the ship was often able to hold its own even against D-Deridex-class warbirds and various large Klingon vessels, only really struggling when getting into the later years of its career or when faced with overwhelming numbers. The ship also has a saucer separation system that allows the crew to be evacuated into the saucer section and left in a location of safety, while the star drive section turns around to engage or delay the enemy as the civilian passengers and non-essential crew escape the area alive.
Not good.
In fourth place, the Akira class, as introduced in Star Trek First Contact. This is a fan favorite design, really cool looking ship. The ship is of a moderate size, fills a kind of heavy escort role as one of the earliest dedicated warships designed to fight the Borg. Most of the deadliness of this particular ship comes from the large overslung torpedo pod on the pylon in the center there. This pod features both forward and aft launchers and carries dozens of torpedoes that can make short work of most smaller vessels, especially if their shields have already been defeated. The Akira has numerous phaser strips across the saucer section and is portrayed as being very maneuverable. Its narrow frame providing a more difficult target for hostile weapons. The ship even has its deflector dish impressed into the hull so as to protect it from fire from almost any angle. And the overall space frame, at least from an in-universe standpoint, takes lots of inspiration from the older Walker class and the even older NX class. One of the coolest looking ships designed for the Federation in Star Trek, I think, and certainly one of the deadliest that we've seen on screen. In third place, the Defiant class, the Federation's first fully admitted warship. Designed following first contact with the Borg Collective in the Beta Quadrant, the ship was intended to be a purpose-built attack craft and is drastically different in almost every design sense from the Federation standard. The ship's base frame is a single solid piece with its nacelles built into the hull for extra protection and a very narrow, flat silhouette that helps with evading fire in close quarters combat. The ship is extremely maneuverable, more so than almost any other Federation vessel, and is equipped with 4 powerful forward-mounted pulsed phase cannons, which fire individual energy projectiles rather than uninterrupted beams, as is the Federation standard. The Defiant does also carry 3 conventional phaser emitters and 4 forward torpedo tubes compatible with the then new quantum torpedo warheads that inflict far more damage than conventional photon torpedoes. The ship also has 2 aft launchers for mines and standard photon torpedoes, and carries a crew complement of around 50 across 4 decks. The original prototype of the class, the USS Defiant, is one of the most famous ships in 24th century Federation history, playing a crucially important role in the Dominion War, and rather uniquely being equipped with a Romulan cloaking device that was lent to the Federation in a temporary exception from the Treaty of Algeron. This ship is fast, lethal, tough as nails, and was the first instance in a line of purpose-built defensive escort craft for the Federation Starfleet.
3 o'clock in the goddamn
Second place, the awesome Sovereign class. This is the class of the Federation flagship, the Enterprise E. It's my favorite of all the Enterprise classes that we see across the course of Star Trek, and it has one of the slickest and most sophisticated looking designs I think we've ever seen in the Star Trek franchise. It's very flat and long, with a seamless transition between its secondary hull and its saucer section, and long swept pylons connecting to the nacelles. Of all the ships to be called Enterprise, this is the first one to be a warship, carrying 12 phaser arrays, 3 forward torpedo launchers, one of which carries quantum torpedoes, 3 rapid reloading aft torpedo launchers, and powerful deflector shields. Again, like the Defiant and the Akira, this ship has a very narrow forward and aft profile, making it very difficult to target when it's coming straight at you, and is also unusually maneuverable for a ship of its size. This is an impressive and imposing command ship, carrying lots of advanced sensors and communication systems, stellar cartography suites, and various other systems that allow it to coordinate a larger group of vessels over almost any range. We've seen this ship engaged in battle with Borg cubes, with Scimitar-class Riemann warbirds, and various other incredibly powerful vessels, and it's always managed to put up an impressive fight, even without assistance. This ship has definitely achieved some of the most impressive ship-to-ship victories that we've ever seen a single Federation ship pull off in the series. Simply the fact that it was involved with the successful destruction of a Borg cube marks this vessel as very impressive indeed by the standards of Federation starships.
I'm not gonna remember all.
Yeah.
Now here we are in first place, and I'm forced to give this to a ship that I admit is technically the most deadly ship the Federation have ever used in Star Trek, but more's the pity because I hate this ship. This is the Prometheus class, and it's just the dumbest thing that's ever come out of Star Trek, and I'm going to hijack this top 5 list to rant about it. This is the ship that is your favorite when you're 15 years old and you watch Star Trek Voyager, because it's got a big pointy arrowhead saucer section, it's got 4 nacelles, it's covered in weapons, and it's got regenerative shielding and ablative hull armor. But most of all, it has something called multi-vector assault mode, where it splits into 3 ships, much like a G.I. Joe toy or something. Each one of these 3 components obviously looks terrible because it's just a third of another ship, so they all have like flat tops and covered in docking clamps and look ridiculous. The ship overall is covered in loads of tiny warp nacelles, so that each individual bit still technically works after it splits apart. This is the most DeviantArt self-insert fanfiction spaceship ever designed. Nothing has ever tried harder to look cool than this thing. And it's, I guess, worked to a certain extent because loads of Star Trek fans love this ship, and it is almost certainly the deadliest.
Starting shit with customers is not part of my job description, man. Don't want to do it, man.
But if it makes you feel any better, I only fight because I have to.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I'm not a fighter. I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I'd rather not fight.
I tried explaining that to a lot of people, but, you know, the thing is with reputation,
Yeah.
people don't care what's true. They care who's popular, and that's the problem I'm encountering in this town.
Here. I've noticed that a lot here.
Yeah.
It's sad.
On the bright side, I'll take the beating. Kids are worth it.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Kids are
over.
Biggest warship the Federation have ever used, but only by virtue.
I don't know. I actually bought that newspaper with like the last of my change yesterday just because I wanted to know if it was Bill Burr.
And it doesn't say, does it?
Nope. Pardon me.
Of the writers wanting to make this thing as painfully badass as humanly possible. We see a separated Prometheus class swarm and destroy a large Romulan warbird in about 5 seconds in the Voyager episode Message in a Bottle, and that's while it was being operated by one confused medical hologram with no crew, so it's clearly pretty handy. It can also travel at warp 9.9, which is the fastest you can go in Star Trek before you're in all spaces and all times simultaneously and turn into a salamander. And according to some CGI reuse that we see in an episode of Star Trek Enterprise, this ship is still in service well into the 26th century, meaning it lasted like 250 years in its career. Personally, I prefer a ship with a bit more nuance, a bit more charm, like my beloved Jaeger class. But if you're looking for the ultimate in high-tech, fastest, strongest, best, my spaceship's better than your spaceship, one-upmanship, then this is the vessel for you. With real multi-vector action, electronic lights and sounds, and authentic battle damage, it's the Prometheus class. Also, it's named after a Greek tragedy. I mean, how many Icaruses and Prometheuses need to blow up before we clock on to the fact that this is a bad idea? Well, that was the top 5 deadliest Federation starships from Star Trek. I've been Daniel from Space Dock. Big thanks to Eckhart's Ladder for having me on. And if you're looking for more spaceships and more inane ranting, please do follow the link in the description and subscribe to our channel. This is Daniel from Space Dock, signing off.
You could take it all away from me. My Rolex, my cars, my home, my cash.
Thank you for watching Space Doc. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please do check out the links on the screen right now or in the description below for our Patreon and channel membership services. Anything you can pledge goes towards improving our team and our equipment and allowing us to put together bigger and more exciting video projects for you guys on the channel.
Some days I'm about as bright as a box of rocks in the shade with the lid closed. Right. Yep. Kind of like today's quarter to cast iron mode on the shady side of an iceberg.
No car yet. $1.50.
Is it just me or does it seem colder when it's just a little tiny bit of snow?
It really does. I said, I'm hoping the wind
Nebraska. It's not bad.
Hello. Hello. Thank you. Have a good one. Hello.
That's right.
That's all I got yet.
Like people in Haiti still pay price water.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. I have enough for life.
Yeah?
Like,
Which one?
this green right here. Nobody has a line green.
Working one? Yeah.
Look, just like these cars in a box are all.
2 of 3.
Oh. Like your other one.
All right, you're all set.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a trendsetter.
Yeah.
Early right there. That's cute right there. Woman raised the tribal chief. How are you doing, Sean? Shitty. I need help for a bullet for the head.
Trying to break my phone. Yeah. That is my phone right there.
Was my fault. Didn't break the phone. Though. It's fine. If I had it on me, I could. Where the hell I put it? Sorry, there's so much bullshit in between. I need someone for the whiskey. Yes, I fish cigarettes out of the ashtray. Puts me at high risk for COVID.
What? Well, enjoy the hell out of it.
It's not my fault people don't have the balls to tell the truth. At least I do. Nobody should have to break the law. But the conduct of the police nationwide makes it necessary. When you are called mentally ill, you are no longer a human being. Your rights do not fucking exist. Unless someone actually cares. This is Natalie Marie Bollinger's last public post. I'm going to post it up here so you can see the slander. A lot of it's actually true. The part that she omitted is the fact that her and her sister invited me to do those things. And then there's a bunch of it is bullshit. Fuck it. She tried to be mostly honest. Sort of. I encourage you to go all the way back to the very beginning of that post. The very, very beginning of the comments. When Natalie was still alive, and read that shit.
Oh my god, I need you back. Oh. Hey, welcome back, guys. We're back at my main field in the forest of Belgium.
But today is something special because even though this field is huge, there's 170 players in total today. 85 versus 85 players fighting over conquest capture points spread out in the area, and I've been tasked with my knowledge of the field to sneak amongst the enemy players and cause as much trouble as possible. So to stay hidden amongst the enemy, I've fitted this giant suppressor on my SV98 version SG24, linked to those in the description, to mask the sound coming from my gun to keep my position unknown. And as it turns out, it's a great way to catch some dishonest people you see later in the video. Thankfully, normally players on this field are very, very honest. Here we go. Wow.
Jesus. We haven't even gotten halfway through and it's 33 minutes long. At this point, which means it's over an hour long. I'm pretty anxious. There's shit I want to do.
With the last guy shooting at me taken out, nobody else should be aware of my position. On this field, once players are down, they're not allowed to give their teammates any more information. After it's been quiet for some time, I've decided to stay put and hidden. I'm literally in the middle of both teams as the rounds are passing right over my head.
Morning, Aaron. Oh, you're not Aaron.
Huh?
I said, you're not Aaron.
No.
You just look like I'm walking up. Had his hoodie up.
So instead of dealing with these guys, I make my way to link up again with another great sniper on the field today, Kicking Mustang. You can check out all of his links below. Only the two of us are now tasked with taking down a capture point that's very close to an enemy base, or at least keep pressure on it. However, it's very deep in enemy territory, and with 85 players on the enemy team, we have to sneak away through the front line to get to the back and sit right among the enemy. Oh, thanks.
I'm still trying to unlock it. This is the broken one.
There's a guy there. Oh, man, that guy. On the corner of the path leading to us. No. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. I have no idea,
You
actually.
know, it's fucked up. They keep changing my court back and forth between Loveland and I want to say Fort Collins. Is that right? I don't think it is. That's the thing with all of these places. It's not difficult to get the names mixed up. There is so much of it. Why am I completely fucking overwhelmed? Because there is so much of it. When cops do screwed up things, well, they get away with it by abusing their position of power repeatedly. My guilt was assumed. The police had nothing on me, and they knew they had nothing on me. Rather than investigating, they went about trying to frame me for a murder I didn't commit, and they used multiple jurisdictions to do this. And they're able to hide their crimes, and they're not hidden. The paperwork is all there, but I'm not allowed to show it from one jurisdiction to another. Meanwhile, they are. They're allowed to put slander from any jurisdiction in my court dates. So, let's see if we can get this shit to work. Meeting number access code. We're going to need to write this down. All right, and then we'll press play again.
Keep an eye on this corner here. They use the corner and they come to this corner. Yeah, let's get there as well. With that spot becoming increasingly more dangerous as they're figuring out where we are, we need to make our way out back to our team. We're using a different route to get back to make sure they're not covering our escape, but we don't know if enemy players are on this route. Having linked back up with our team, our job is now to push the capture point on the west, where the enemy is not yet aware of us moving up on their position. Good look there, mate. Give it 2 shots. Wow. All right. Oh. Hey, that's good. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Next week, I'm attempting to take the untested R6D out in the field, so don't miss that, and subscribe if you haven't. Check out my previous video, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Hi, what's up, guys? Today we're doing a 1v1 with all these guns.
Those emotions, they were put on hold by time, but at Claire's bridal weekend at a
Hey, what's up guys? The Bearer 50 cal project has finally been completed and ready for today's game. The semi-automatic beast is powered by an external air pressure tank that is connected to the Wolverine HPA engine hiding inside. Thanks to Wolverine Airsoft for providing the power source for this project. With this combination of engine and air pressure tank, it's capable of shooting at incredibly high pressures and velocities, but we're still shooting at human targets today, so it has been
Look, I am impatient. There is not enough time to do everything that I need to do. And the crimes keep piling up. Maybe this one time the cops are going to do their jobs. I'm going to restart this, not restart it, because that would be cruel and unusual punishment. I'll continue it in a bit. I got to end this stream and make some phone calls.